Hey, Jason. I can't actually hear you.
All right, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound great.
Beautiful.
Nice,
Beautiful.
man.
Sorry about
So,
that.
no, you're good. It's all good. Yeah. The reason why I kind of move towards Skype on these recordings is because it has this. There's kind of two things. Number one is it has cloud-based HD recording, so everything gets recorded in the cloud, not locally, which is what Zoom does. And then the second thing is that it always has a two-shot. So with Zoom, what it does is there's an algorithm that says whoever's speaking, that's who's going to be in the recording. So it
Ah,
kind of swaps back and forth. So for the podcast thing, the two shot actually works really well because it's kind of reactions and banter and whatnot. But we're all good here. This is awesome. You look good. I love the green. Any questions for me? Kind of you use Dubb, so I don't need to kind of give you any explanation of what the hell we're doing over here. But
no, it's I'm excited to help you out, man.
awesome. Very cool. And the way that this kind of rolls is I want to know your origin story. I want to know how you got into your situation, into your position, and what you've learned along the way, trials, tribulations, overcomings. I'd love to just have that kind of deep, open convo and just have some fun.
All right. Well, so I started this company. We will be 10 years old next
Cool.
month.
Let me do this. So we're recording now. So let me just intro us up here. And then we'll get it going. All right, let me make sure my levels are cool here. Let's see here. Video, HD. Touch up my appearance. Do I need that? I don't know. Do I need makeup? Okay. All right, I just want to make sure my switches are in order because you make one mistake and things get wacky. All right, here we go. And we are live. What's up, guys? This is Ruben from Dubb's podcast Connection Loop. I have with me today Jason Duncan. So Jason is a Dubb user, and I'd love to explore kind of his use cases and what he's up to. But more importantly, I'd love to really get into the origin story of Jason here. So Jason, talk to me, man.
Well, thank you, Ruben. Glad to be on this with you. So this company that I run is called Energy Lighting Services, and we're based in the Nashville, Tennessee area. We will be celebrating our 10th year in business
Wow,
this
nice.
month. And
Congrats.
yeah, thank you. It's hard to believe. And this is my third career. So I spent my first career.
Okay.
I was in ministry. I actually did ministry for almost 13 years. Started in my senior year in high school, and for 13 years did ministry and sales kind of
Oh, okay.
bivocationally. And then I went into teaching school. Went back to school, got my master's in education, taught school for 4 years, and would still be teaching school if the Great Recession hadn't happened.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so the Great Recession hit the school budget really hard, and even though I had the highest test scores of any teacher in my subject in the county, I did not have tenure, and I was the last guy hired in that building. So when they had to make cuts just to hit budgets, my contract didn't get renewed. So I had to do something, and so I thought, well,
Last in, first out, LIFO,
yeah,
right?
last in, first out. So I made a decision. I'd there's more details. I don't want to go into all of it, but I'd started the company kind of as a little
Hmm.
side hustle in a
Yeah.
year prior to that event. And then when this happened, I thought, okay, it's all in. I'm going to go all in. And I gave myself 6 months to kind of make some money to get something going. And I thought if I don't do it in 6 months, I'll go get another job somewhere else, real job, a W-2. And man, I landed 3 days before my self-imposed deadline. I landed what turned out to be a multi-million-dollar contract with a hospital.
Wow. It's that story. I mean, that's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah.
Thank you. It's been a wild ride.
Yeah.
And that's 10
So,
years.
so were you considering during that 6 month journey, how many times did you consider giving up?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I was interviewing with other companies all along the way. So like
Okay.
I'm on the airplanes flying out to visit LED lighting manufacturers. I'm prospecting new client opportunities, and then I'm also interviewing with
Right.
other companies, and I'm trying to hold everything at arm's length because I don't know which one's going to land first. And I remember there was one company that I was interviewing with, um, for actually it was a headhunting recruiting position. I was
Mm.
going to be a recruiter for them in sales. And I kept kind of saying, "Hey, can we meet next week?" And then he'd say, "Okay, we can meet this week." And then that meeting would come up, and I go, "Can I push this another week?" And I kept pushing it, because I knew they were about to offer me the job.
Yeah.
I didn't want to take it because I was working on this big deal, and that big deal happened. And that guy said, "Look, it doesn't sound like you're interested in this job, so you're out." So
he could
I
kind of
self I self-selected.
they could sense that for some reason. That's funny how that works. Yeah. Well, your story reminds me of the story of John Krasinski, the actor from The Office that now has, of course, his own show on Amazon. And he decided to become an actor, and he moved to New York, and he was waiting tables, and he was really struggling, getting 0 gigs, and he was going to give up. And I think his mom actually said, "Look, you gotta stick around." It was September, I think. You got to stick around for the holidays. And he did. And then I think just within that short little time period of his mom motivating him to stick around, to not give up, that's actually when he landed the gig at The Office, the TV show, of course. And now the rest is history. He's almost an A-lister. But it's that not giving up, right? In that self-imposed deadline. And then sometimes even pushing that deadline even longer.
Yep, that is true. You've got to make sure that you're committed.
Yeah.
And I tell people this all the time: in the life of an entrepreneur, there is an invisible horizontal line that the only person that can see it is the entrepreneur himself
Yes.
or herself.
Right.
And if you go below that line, you're out of business. And you're the
Yes.
only one that knows how close you are to that line at any
Right.
given time. And so you're managing those expectations and managing reality and trying to get revenue and trying to pay bills and service your customers as best you can.
Well, I think one of the biggest conundrums, which is either a good thing or a bad thing or both at the same time, it's pushing, it's flying without enough gas in the tank. I mean, you hear these stories like the CEO of FedEx, he couldn't make payroll, he went to Vegas. Wow, that's reckless. He took the last couple of bucks he had, and of course, I mean, as the story goes, he made payroll, but how do you find that balance of when to not give up, when to keep pushing, when to seek help? I mean, I think to your point, it's about putting in the time, putting in the effort, and then having that sense of self-accountability.
Yeah, well, the way I tell people when they ask that question is, when you have accomplished what you set out to accomplish, you are
Yes.
free to end it at any time.
Oh,
That's
yes.
not quitting. That's ending well. But if you haven't yet accomplished what you set out to accomplish, anytime you end it before then, that's quitting. So, for me, I have not yet accomplished what I set out to accomplish. Most of it has been, I'm paying my bills, I'm out of debt, my family's taken care of, I'm getting to do things financially that I'd never have been able to do before. I've got great employees, I'm building a great team, company's doing well. So those things are great, but there's a few other things that I want to accomplish, so I can't call it off until those happen. But when they do, anytime I'm ready to hang it up, man, that's not quitting. I'm going out. This is what I attempted to do, and I did it. And so I did it. But what do you want me to do?
Well, what's really interesting from my perspective on hearing your story is that your origin is in ministry and in sales.
Yeah.
And really, really, what is that? It's a guide. It's someone that seeks to assist other people and has some sort of a system or a framework, an idea or a philosophy or a religion, doesn't matter what it is. And ultimately, it's about providing value and providing help that's beneficial, that's long-term. Isn't that what sales is in this day and age? It's about helping people. It's about giving frameworks and structure so that they can help themselves ultimately.
Right.
And have that faith and have that belief and hope, really. And I think as an entrepreneur, to hear your story, I presume that you started with a sales mentality. You said, look, I got 6 months. I need to start driving revenue. I need to close deals. I need to get value out there and then receive compensation. And it might seem like second nature to you, but there's a lot of people that don't have that philosophy, that don't understand that it's all about the sales. It's
Yeah.
all about the relationships. It's all about that continual viral loop that we get of referrals and happy customers and so on and so forth. So kudos to you, man.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Congrats on the 10 years.
Everything is sales, man. There is nothing in this screen that people can see, nothing in the screen that people can see for me happened without somebody selling something to someone.
Right.
Everything is sales.
So what sold you on Dubb? I got to ask.
Well, I'm going to tell you, and I don't want to mention your competitors' names, but I listen to a sales training podcast, and they have a sponsor, or had, I don't think they use them anymore, but they had a sponsor that was about video emails.
Okay.
And it was the first time I'd ever heard of them, and I heard of the concept. I thought, well, that's kind of cool. And so I looked it up, and I looked at theirs, and I did searching for alternatives, which is what I think a lot of us do.
Yeah.
Somehow found you guys, and I think the usability was good. The price was right. Everything just seemed to work, and we did it. And holy crap, man! It's just been, it has been fantastic. Dubb is one of the top tools for my company and our business development, prospecting, lead nurturing, deal nurturing. I do Dubb videos for almost everything, and people love it. Now, one day it's going to suck because everybody's going to be doing it. It won't be novel anymore.
Yeah.
But until then, I'm going to be riding that novelty wave, and it's going to make me stand out in the crowd.
Well, it's first of all, thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. What you just described is a lot of our work, a lot of what we have put ourselves out to do, which is to provide a product that is reasonably priced, that has all the features that can empower people to create original content so that people can find us. We want to stay efficient with our efforts. We don't overspend on advertising to the point where we need to inflate our pricing. Because that's what happens a lot of the times, is that if companies are spending a lot of money to acquire customers, then they need to inflate the prices to offset that customer acquisition cost. So we try to bake in this whole idea of product first, content second, and then customer service throughout the entire experience. And I think that you've received that. So it makes me feel so good that you went through experience, and then now, of course, that you're seeing success with it. One of the things that I'd like to make very clear is that Dubb was created by people like yourself. The platform now has, I think, 10,000 businesses that are using it. And the feedback that we get is so important, Jason. So I want to keep my lines open. Email me, call me, whatever, LinkedIn. I'm available if you have ideas, if you have questions, if you need support, if there's any kind of integrations that you want to use. Please let me know, and we're here for you.
Well, I want to add value because you guys have been valuable to us. I know we're paying for that value. I understand that. So there is a fair exchange happening here, but I do want to bring value in an abundant way back to you so that you can make the platform better. I just got the email or some notification on my phone last night about your referral program.
Yes.
And I went in to sign up. With my phone, but I thought, sometimes it was a little clunky trying to fill out those forms on the phone. So I decided I'll wait until I get to the office. So I'm planning on doing that because I think that I could push a lot of people to Dubb because I believe in it so much. I talk about it with my sales team at least every other week. And I do an hour-and-a-half training with my sales team every Monday. And, Dubb is mentioned frequently about using it as a tool. My VP of Revenue Operations called me yesterday and he said, "Hey, guess who finally responded and said me?" And I said, "Well, tell me." And he told me, and a Dubb video was part of it. And I said, "Well, there you go. Dubb is a way to get people to respond. It doesn't work for everybody, but it really does well." The one integration, if we're at a point where I can make a recommendation,
we are,
is I would love for Google Photos to be linked to Dubb so that the videos I record on my phone can go into Dubb and just go upload from Google Photos. And bring that over. And I've got a phone call coming in. My computer is ringing, so my apologies for that background noise.
No, you're good.
So, but anyway, like I record most of my videos on my phone.
Okay.
And then, so like if I'm out somewhere, I can just shoot a real quick video. And I like using the native camera app because I could do things with it that the Dubb
Yeah,
Port app won't do. And I don't really
that's
anticipate you
fair.
ever needing it to do that. But then what I end up having to do is I take that video, then I put it in Google Photos, which it automatically does. And then I have to download it to my computer and then upload it to Dubb. So it's an extra step. So if Google Photo integration ever is on the horizon, I would be a huge fan.
So we're a Google partner. We have an integration with Gmail. We have an integration which is in a beta program with YouTube. I don't know if there's an API for Google Photos. I will research that. I'll put it on my list. I will say this, that the Dubb mobile app, now this is not exactly what you asked for, but the Dubb mobile app, there's a little video icon and there's a little plus icon within the Dubb mobile app. If you click on the plus icon, that's going to allow you to select a video directly from your phone. And there's no editing. It's not going to process it. There's no kind of resizing. It's a 2-click or 1-click situation where you just upload the video and then you can just save it. It'll even give it a temporary title. And then within really seconds, assuming you have good Wi-Fi, which I know you do, will appear on desktop and your extensions and so on and so forth. So I don't know if you've tried that through the mobile app yet.
Well, I'm doing it right now. So yeah, so now
Okay, cool.
I've got that video and I'm just going to choose a 47-second video.
Yeah.
I just clicked on it and
make sure you click on the plus icon, not on the video icon. Yeah. The
so
video icon. Yeah.
Well, it's at 1% right now. So we can kind of see on there. It's at 2%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2%. So we'll just see how long that takes to do it. But yeah, I didn't know you could do that, or if I did, I'd forgotten about it.
Okay, cool. So that's a quick solution, but that's some great feedback. So let's talk about your business a little bit. I mean, every business is out there to solve a problem, right? And what is the kind of overarching large problem that you guys are solving?
Okay, so every single business on the in the Western world, I wouldn't say on the face of the planet. I imagine there are businesses in huts somewhere in Africa or India that don't have lighting, but everybody's got lighting. And the thing about lighting is this: you go into your office, you go into your building, and you flip the switch. And if the lights come on, that's the last time you thought about the lights. You leave, you turn them off, you don't think about lights. But the reality is that lighting is stealing a lot of money from you, and you don't even know it. If you don't have LED lighting in your building, if you're not using smart controls, what you're doing is you're spending as much as 25 to 30% higher on your electric bill than what it needs to be. Now, if you think about that in terms of overall money, let's say you're spending $10,000 a month in electricity, which a lot of our customers are doing because we work in large commercial spaces. That 25 to 30%, that's $3,000, right? So they're spending, and actually, I didn't plan this, but this is actually sitting here on my desk, so I'll use this as an example since we're on video. So, like, for instance, if you're writing this $10,000 check every month to the electric company, right, and that's budgeted, like you're doing that every month anyway. Well, if you put in LED lighting, your check to the electric company could only be $7,000, right? It could go down by that much. So that $3,000, part of that you got to pay us. Like, you got to pay for what we do. So you'll write us a check for, say, $2,000, right? So there you're writing $2,000 check, which means you're left with a cash check of $1,000 that you budgeted to send to the electric company. But now you keep this money. This money is yours. Now, over 5 years, which is a typical contract for us, that means you're putting $60,000 back into your pocket that was stolen by the lights that you had before. That $60,000 was being stolen. You didn't realize it. Now, the better part of this,
to fluorescent or to incandescent or whatnot.
And the better part of this is the last one, is that at the end of 10 years, because that's the useful life of an LED lighting system, this is the amount of money you will put back into your operating budget because you went to LED. Almost $250,000. So the problem we're solving is we're giving all this money back so that you can spend it on things that are more important than the electric bill.
Wow. You're preaching to the choir on this. I'm such a believer in this. I want to show off just for 1 second because I'm such a believer in LED lighting, number one, but number two is automation to manage the amount of energy that's being used. So ready for it?
Yep.
Alexa, turn the studio off.
Nice.
The whole
Nice.
studio's, I don't ever mess around and leave my lights on. They're always on only when I'm using them. And when I leave, I always, tell it to shut them off. There's also a switch that I can use. But this has been a total kind of quote unquote money saver. In my home, I have replaced every single bulb. I went ballistic on this. I replaced every single bulb with LED lights. And I got to tell you, some of those bulbs, I mean, it is such a pain in the butt to go match and to find the bulbs, and it doesn't work. And it's the European socket on the chandelier, and then you need the little converter, and you realize that the wattage is wrong, and it's so much of a science, man. So I get it, and from a cost saving perspective, it's a no-brainer,
Yeah. Well, that's my house is set up the same way. I can tell Google to turn the lights on and off, and we've got them on timers, and and you don't have to replace them. They just last. I mean, from time to time you run into a bad batch and you have to replace one, but LED lighting can save as much as 90% over and above the fluorescent or incandescent or high pressure sodium or metal halide lights that you're using now. So what we do is we consult with big companies and say, look, in this 500,000 square foot building, you're overspending by $90,000 to $100,000 a year. What would you do if I gave you 100 grand cash back? Like, what would you do with that money? Well, they would add product lines. They would beef out some of their infrastructure. They'd hire a new employee, lots of things they would do. So we firmly believe that they've got more important things to spend their money on than the electric bill. And we show them a way to get that money back by using LED lighting and lighting controls.
So I remember when these bulbs here, and I'm holding a red LED bulb. I remember when these bulbs, you would go to Amazon, this is a long time ago, and each bulb would be like $6. And now you can get these things for $2, $3.
Yeah, it depends on where you get them, but yeah, they're fairly inexpensive.
Now, I want to know what has changed with the tech. I mean, obviously it's a volume play and people have realized that they save so much money, but what truly has evolved from a technological perspective with LED bulbs, lighting, tech, and whatnot?
Well, I think the availability of the materials that are needed to do LED lighting, they got become an economy of scale.
Yes.
Now that the availability of those materials, plus they're able to, the industry's to a place now where they're not making it hoping people will buy it. They're making them knowing that people will buy it. And
Yes.
Of course, that's a supply and demand thing that you can make more, and you're going to make the same volume, same amount of money on the volume that you were on onesie twosies. The first huge project I sold, we sold, since you showed a light bulb, I'll show it.
Please.
So the first project that we sold, a big project, we replaced LED, or we replaced their fluorescent tube lights with something like this.
Ooh,
So
I've never seen a fluorescent light that's made with, or I should say a fluorescent socket style.
Yeah.
That's made with LED. I've never seen that.
So it's the same bipin that
Ah.
a fluorescent would have, but this is all aluminum polycarbonate. So when I did my first huge project with this, it was like 17,000 bulbs. These dudes right here cost $45 a piece.
Wow.
So today they're in the $10 to $15 range. Now you can get really, really cheap ones for $4 and $5. I don't recommend them for commercial application because they're simply not going to last.
Yes.
The drivers and the chips are not built for 24-hour or 12-hour a day use. They're mainly for, put it in your garage or your closet at home or something like that. But if you want a high quality bulb, an LED bulb, this is what we do. So the technology is changing fast. Now the other part of it that's changing is the amount of light that can come out per the amount of power pushed through it.
Okay.
So back in the day, your lumens per watt, like how much light are you getting out per watt, was really low, 50, 60 lumens per watt. Today we're over 200 lumens per watt, which means it takes less watt to get the same amount of light. Interestingly enough, our light bulbs for 100 years were all measured by watts, and if you wanted more light, you just got a higher watt.
Right.
Well, that's not the case with LED lighting. Now it's lumens. So when you're shopping for, I need a certain amount of light, you look for the lumens. How many lumens? Is it 960 lumens? Is it 1300 lumens? 23,000 lumens? What is the lumen you're trying to get? The wattage doesn't matter. It's not a direct correlation anymore.
That makes sense. That's why when you go to Amazon and you're looking for LED bulbs, it says, 65 watt equivalent or something like that. It's like
Exactly.
giving you some general sort of thing. So, when I think about technology, I think about how it kind of moves in waves. Like there's this idea of the innovator's dilemma, which is that new technology is not really adopted by large entities, large companies. They sort of wait until the early adopters adopt it and they get all the kinks out and the bugs out, and then finally it starts to get used and adopted. LED lights is very much so within that, because now it's become ubiquitous. It's a no-brainer. When I touch a light bulb, an old light bulb, an incandescent light bulb, like when I've been replacing all these ones in the house, I can't even believe that they were still in the house that I live in. The bulbs are so hot to the point where they will burn your fingers. And I think to myself, use a sock. And I literally went to Home Depot and got nice gloves, like construction gloves, because I didn't want to burn. And I was having my kid help me, and I don't think he got burned, but he got startled a little bit. But what I realized at that moment was that for over 100 years, for 120 plus years, we have been using such an inefficient technology where so much of the energy that gets expended is converted into this useless energy that just produces heat and heats up your home in the summertime, where you need to now turn your AC on. And it's like the most ridiculous thing. And it's like, why did it take so long?
Yep. Well, I'm glad to hear you talk like that, because we actually educate people on that fact. The physics behind the energy consumption and legacy lighting like incandescence and fluorescence, 90% of the electricity pushed through those old lights is turned into heat. Only 10% is turned into light. It's only 10% efficient.
Oh my goodness.
On an LED, this thing I showed, or the thing you were holding there, 90% of the electricity pushed through that is turned into light, and only 10% is turned into heat. So
they're not even hot. Like, this is an LED bulb right above me, and I'm going to put my hand right on it. It is a little bit warm. It is a little bit, but it seems like less than 10%. It seems like 2%.
Yeah, it's getting better with every passing iteration of the technology. The higher the lumens per watt, the less the watts, so the heat load goes down. And not to get extremely nerdy technical, but on these little yellow.
Oh, we already passed that point.
But these little yellow diodes, that it's phosphor on a silicon chip.
Okay.
And there's a way that you can push power through that, and you can, let's say it can take a power measure of, let's just say 100, just use round numbers. Well, if you can underdrive that, say you only put 50 through when it will accept 100, right? You're underdriving it, which means it lasts longer and the heat is lower. Now, of course, you have to put more diodes to get the same amount of light out, but that's the way the technology is coming to where they've learned you underdrive the LEDs so that they last longer, and then you don't have to replace them. You just have to put more diodes on there. So we're seeing, like, I've done projects now, that large commercial projects, not onesie twosies, that are well over 7-8 years old, and they are still burning, like still going, still less than a 2% failure rate. That's the beauty of LED lighting.
I was thinking about something where a lot of people feel like they don't want to make the short-term investment because it pinches a little bit to write a big check to go invest into new technology. They'd rather keep the old AC because, yes, it costs $500 a month to keep the house cool, but to buy a new system is $7,000 or $10,000 or something. So, a lot of people have a really difficult time, amortizing the costs of an investment, and they get stuck on that big number, right? Yeah. Now, of course, this is why financing exists, and there's obviously all sorts of financial vehicles to assist us with stuff like that. But a lot of people have that old school mentality. What is your take on that? How do you guide people on that fact?
Well, so you're a SaaS company, right? I mean, software as a service. You're not selling a product that they buy on a floppy disk or a CD or a DVD.
Correct. Yeah.
You're selling them a software as a service. Well, lighting can be sold the same way.
Really?
What we can do is we can come in and we can do lighting as a service or energy savings as a service. It's a SaaS-ish model, right? So what we do is we provide light, not lights. And there's a
Mm,
difference. So what we can do is we can come in and say, okay, your project is going to require this much, capital investment on our part. We're going to come in and do it. You're just going to send us, going back to my little checks that I was showing a moment ago. Let's say you're going to send us a $2,000 check a month, every month. But as a result, your electric bill is going to go down by $3,000. So you're
nice.
cash flow positive. So what we do is we try to work with companies to arrange this lighting as a service model so that there is no upfront capital outlay. There is no new budgeted dollars that are required. It's an operating expense, which should be classified as an off-balance sheet treatment. So there's no liability on your balance sheet. Now that, of course, accounting rules apply differently to different companies, but that's the concept. So you shouldn't have to spend a single dollar out of pocket to do LED lighting. It should cash flow itself, and it should not require an upfront investment.
Okay, so you've got a great pitch. I mean, why would someone say no to this?
Status quo is our biggest competitor, right? I mean, so like I said, if you go in and you turn your lights on and they work, you don't think about it. So
But
when
I
we
mean,
talk,
everyone feels the pinch on that.
yeah, well, they do, but not in the same way, right? So, I can go in and I can explain to a CEO or a CFO, yeah, you're wasting $80,000 a year because you're lighting. Well, to them, it's like, hey, I'm comfortable paying the 80. Like I'm already paying it. Like it's a sunk cost. It's not bothering me. And in the back of their mind, they may be thinking, well, I'm not even really sure if I'm going to save the 80. So there's a lot of moving parts in this that makes people say no. But I tell you, the very first time we did a huge pitch, that was the question that the prospect asked me. He said, why wouldn't I do this? And I said, I don't know. Why wouldn't you? So, I mean,
Well, you know what it's like. Sorry to interrupt. You know what it's like. It's like when you get your utility bill at your house, and it's like $500 for electricity, and then you go to the Tesla solar panel website, and then you see that it's $60 or $200, and you can generate 7,000 kilowatts per month, and then you just spent all those hundreds of dollars for five. You're like, wait a minute, it's an instant saving if I go get solar. Like, why wouldn't I do this? But it's that early adopter. I love what you just said. Status quo is your biggest competitor.
yep, that's right. Same thing for Dubb. I mean, if you're trying to sell into sales organizations, you're trying to tell them, hey, you can get more eyes on you and get more prospects, et cetera. And they're thinking, well, it's not broke. It's working right now. But you just can't get across to them, look, for the money you're going to spend on Dubb, you might close an extra deal a month or an extra deal a quarter, an extra deal a year, whatever the metrics may be. And they're just, status quo is always going to be our biggest competitor.
Right, exactly. Well, one of the things that we want to start doing is charging on a commission basis for sales that we drive.
Oh, that's awesome.
I kid. So I see a guitar, and I got to ask about it. I'm a drummer and a guitarist a little bit too. So do you play?
I do. This is just primarily for looks, decorations in my office. It's
Yeah.
like a $100 garage sale special, but I needed something to display in the office to let people know that I play. But I do play. I've been playing acoustic guitar for about 14 or 15 years, and love it. It's one of the things that I really, really, really enjoy in life is playing guitar.
Yeah, I'm going through this belting process with JKD, Jeet Kune Do. This is the Bruce Lee martial arts, and it's this holistic program where it's mind, body, fitness, and there's all sorts of exercises that you have to do, and it's not just about the martial arts. And one of the things that they talk about is this importance and this necessity to have a creative outlet. Because in addition to working out, in addition to faith, in addition to family time, in addition to, work, making money, all these responsibilities that we have, that creativity is such an important facet because it really opens up the neural pathways. It allows us to think creatively, to think differently, to breathe, to meditate, So, it's great that you incorporate that into your corporate life, but also your personal life,
Yeah, we've got, of course, being in Nashville, we've got a few musicians and songwriters that work
Yes,
here.
you do.
And so one of the things that we keep talking about doing, but we have not done it yet, is well, once a month we shut our office down for a day. We have a couple hours to do a team meeting, and then we have lunch together. It's either catered in or we do potluck, and then we do some sort of team building exercise, and everybody goes home at 1 o'clock, and it's just, we call it family meal. We do that. It's actually, we're having it tomorrow, but we do that once a month, every month, and we keep saying one of these days for our activity is going to be to have all the musicians bring in their musical instruments and songs and kind of do a thing. We haven't done it yet. I think everybody's got a little cold feet about
Yeah.
performing in front of their coworkers, but one day we will do that.
Well, you know what? I'll throw this at you. I have made so many Dubb videos on music because I've got instruments all around me. I've got a ukulele right behind me, which I'll show you in a minute. But I record a lot of music and I send it to friends using Dubb.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's just a fun little thing. But I think the larger message within business is that when you can't be there in real life, you can send a asynchronous video, you can send a greeting video, you can send a training video, you can send a screen video, you can send a music video, you can send anything that you want just to get something across the pipes and to just really share that message so that the person on the other end can consume it, enjoy it, appreciate it on their own terms, on their own device, whenever they want to, So a lot of folks use Dubb for motivation, internal, just greeting stuff, happy birthday videos. So I'm always interested to hear about different use cases. But at some point, you got to send me a guitar video.
Well, if anybody wants to follow me on Instagram or TikTok, I actually have a couple of videos out there.
Oh,
where
nice.
I'm playing and singing with my wife. She's the superstar. She's the one that has the amazing voice and harmonizes with me and makes me actually sound pretty good.
Oh, that's awesome. So you mentioned TikTok, and TikTok's crazy, man. It's taken over. I mean, it's the new big social network, and a lot of people, especially people in our age with facial hair, they and they say that's for like 13-year-olds, But I always try to, when I think about technology, I think of what is the tech going to be like in 5 years, and I wish I did this from an investment perspective because my first Apple was an Apple IIgs. I had a Dell computer in 1994. Like I'm a crazy early adopter, but buying the stock, that's where the really smart people do and go. But what attracted you to TikTok? What is your take on it? Is it just for 13-year-old kids?
Well, TikTok's algorithm is pretty phenomenal, and I'll explain what my experience with it. So I joined TikTok back in, I guess it was late summer last year, just because I'd heard about it and seen it, but I didn't know what it was. And so I downloaded it on my tablet, and every night when I go to bed, I usually watch YouTube. Now it's TikTok, but watch some videos and kind of a way to wind down. Just on Bose headphones on so I don't bother my wife, and I got kind of get drowsy and then put it down and go to sleep. Well, so I downloaded TikTok and I started watching it, man. And I was finding myself, it'd be 2 hours. I'd look up and holy crap, I've watched 15 and 6-second videos for 2 hours. It's just like this wormhole you get sucked into. But and at first, all the videos were absolutely asinine, stupid kids, young kids, maybe teenagers or middle schoolers or college kids doing stupid stuff. Every once in a while, though, there would be a really good, like funny quality video. And then I was 2-3 months into the process of me downloading and watching it. I saw somebody do a like legit business related video.
Really?
And I thought, whoa, this is cool. And then Gary V started showing up on there. I'm like, okay, so this is not going to be just for teenagers and college students. So I signed up as TikTok Sales Pro. So I'm
nice.
TikTok Sales Pro. So and I posted just some, like I'm doing some stupid stuff too. Like, you pick out what the big song is at the moment and you do a stupid video with it.
Oh, right.
But then I started doing these 1-minute just sales tip videos, et cetera, or something. And I tried, I actually had one video that had 68,000 views. And it was just me laughing at my daughter who had just found out I had a TikTok account. And she's 17.
Well,
So
I mean, now I'm laughing.
yeah, I said, hey, so I got on the video. I was in my
and
garage.
how old's your daughter?
She's 17. I was about to get in the car to go to an event, and she had just joined TikTok.
Okay.
Like, I was before her, and she had just found out I had one. So I got out of my car. I was about to pull out of the driveway or out of the garage, and I got on a video on the phone, and I was on TikTok, and I was recording, and I said, my daughter just found out I have a TikTok account, and I turned my phone around, and she was standing there at the door of the garage, and she slammed the door and went inside, and I just turned around and started laughing. Maybe 8-second video, and it had like 60-something thousand people watched it, and my followership went from like 3 to 2,000, like just. And so here's where I am today on TikTok. Like, the algorithm is so good, it knows that I don't want to watch stupid kids as much as I want to watch the people telling you how to invest in real estate, how to do business, entrepreneurs. So it's actually, the algorithm is only showing me about every 10 videos I watch, maybe 1 or 2 are dumb. The rest of them are business related, entrepreneur related, etc. So they know what I'm wanting to watch and how long I watch each video. So it's pretty good. But for me, I am really, 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 really committed to video content. And I do 2 or 3 videos a week on YouTube and LinkedIn and Instagram TV. And then of course it pushes out to Twitter and Facebook as well. But for TikTok, because it's only 60 seconds, I'm having a hard time figuring out how do I take this content that's 5 or 6 minutes long? Do I have to shoot a whole new video for TikTok? So for me, I'm having a hard time figuring out how to work it. So I'm in, but I'm not 100% in. I would probably have 60 or 70,000 followers right now if I had last year really been all in. But for me, I feel like my audience is on LinkedIn more than they're on TikTok. So I'm spending more time on LinkedIn.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think what you're talking about is, we think about this a lot, in terms of having large volumes of valuable content, but in a very cogent, pithy, very concise fashion, so that people in their busy schedules, with all the noise that's out there, they can actually consume a piece of content and then get some value out of it, right? And watch it in its entirety. So the method that we employ, we call it the waterfall method. There's a lot of content that we have on this. We actually have a whole YouTube video on the waterfall method. People should search for that. But it's this idea of taking something that's longer form and then cutting it into something shorter form. So a 3-minute video can easily be cut into a 60-second video. It's just about removing all the space, all the ums, all the ands, all the delays, and it's like punches, And I think the other thing that we're really trying to innovate on is this idea of real-time editing. And what that means is that you don't need to record a video and then send it to an editor or throw it into iMovie or Premiere or whatever and actually spend the time to cut it. It's actually editing while you're recording it. And what that means essentially is clicking record, recording a clip, letting go of the trigger, and then moving on to the next one. So if you have 5 or 6 thoughts, each one of those thoughts can be a 10-second clip that gets created into a larger 60-second video. So this is our vision, real-time video editing. And this is what the Dubb mobile app does. And it's a different mindset. It's a different philosophy because people are just used to clicking a button and then speaking, and then they're kind of done. It's basically, you don't build multiple clips. You just have a clip. So it's a little bit of a choreography. It's a little bit of pre-planning, knowing what your bullets are. But I encourage you to try it. And you know what? On the Dubb mobile app, you can download the video and then put it in a 9:16 format and then throw that into TikTok. That I don't think that's been done before. I don't think anyone's recorded a 9:16 video in the Dubb mobile app, downloaded it, and then uploaded it to TikTok. You would be the first. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I tried it in the beginning of January, and if anybody goes and looks at my TikTok channel, you'll see that I tried doing a garage motivation video Monday through Friday, like as I'm walking out to the garage every morning, just do a 15 to 60 second something. But golly, man, just making myself do that every day, I gave up about 5 or 6 days into it. I'm like, yeah, I just don't have the energy to do it because the videos that I'm producing are much longer format,
yes,
much deeper content. And so I guess what I'm struggling with is figuring out what content will my audience on LinkedIn or on TikTok want, and I haven't figured it out yet. It's really interesting because occasionally I'll get onto a TikTok live video, which they do really well, and I'll ask the person, message them and say, how long have you been on TikTok? And they'll say 3 months or whatever. How many followers do you have? 75,000. Like, how in the world does that happen? I don't know. And then I go look at their channel. Some people might have only 7 or 8 videos. I don't know how you got to 75,000 followers like that. Others may have dozens and dozens. So I think a lot of it is learning to game the system, like understanding that algorithm. And I don't have the time or patience to try to figure that out.
But do you have a 6-pack?
And that's another problem on TikTok. Thank you for pointing that out.
Because I know I don't. Well, actually, there was another note that I had in here, which is that, recording, a lot of people record content on a daily basis, and it's a flow. It's part of their whole lifestyle. A lot of people record a lot of content in just a couple of days for the entire month. If you float around your house and your office and your, Starbucks and your car and whatnot, and maybe a wardrobe change or 3 within that, different angles, different lighting, sun's up, sun's out, you can record 100 videos in a day, right? If you have a little bit of a content calendar, just a bulleted list of topics that you can kind of cover, different formats, different styles, bloopers are cool, having fun. We've seen a lot of success in actually just amassing content within short amounts of time, not actually going through what you mentioned, which is, okay, I'm going to schedule that 10 minutes every single day because life happens, we get busy. We've seen success with that. We've seen success with that. It's you take a day out every month and you say today's content day, and you get someone to help you, and then of course you have to outsource the distribution of it. That's the next step.
Yeah, I'm finding, and you going back to your point about live editing, I understand that there's a place for that, and I love the concept. But I know that a lot of what I'm doing, I'm wanting a much higher level of content as far as the way it looks when it's published, when it finally goes out to the public. So for me, recording the content, man, I could I've got a content calendar that went back. I started in June last year, and I've got it pushed out through probably April this year, what I do every single week. So if anybody calls and says, Jason, did you do a video on prospecting tips? I can go and look, said, yeah, I did one on May, whatever. I could tell them where to go find that and look it up by date. So I'm pretty good about scheduling that and knowing what my content's going to be. But for me, it's the editing part. Like, I try to record 2 to 3 videos a week, and then they're scheduled to go out at some point in the future, but then I've got to go and edit them. And, I've got an employee who can edit them, but there's other things that she should be doing more than just editing some of my, personally branded content that's going to go out. So I'm doing that. Now I use an app, and obviously I'm not an affiliate or getting paid for this, but it's called InShot, INSHOT, that works on my Google Pixel really, really well. And it's really simple, but it still takes time. I mean, I could be on a 6 or 7 minute video. I could easily put 20 to 30 minutes of editing time on my phone, just kind of going through.
Easily.
Yeah, the graphics are overlaid correctly at the right spot, picking the music out, making sure the intro and exit's right. But so to me, that's the next big thing. If somebody can figure out editing software that's not easier to use, because that one's easy to use, but if there's some way to automate it easier, there's probably a lot of money to be made in that.
Artificial video editing is the future. I totally believe in that. A lot of what we do is, when you pull selects and you kind of cut things out, a lot of it is slightly rote and somewhat digital. It's unfortunate that tech doesn't, at least I have not seen a lot of impressive tech. There's an app that a lot of people use called Vlog Easy. And I think what that does is that it auto trims. I maybe don't know how to use it, but I'll give that another try. But that apparently cuts out some kind of dead spots. But sometimes you want those dead spots. It's contemplation, it's thinking. And then sometimes, of course, you want to have your bloopers. If you mess up, those are kind of funny. So those are what people love. I mean, in our YouTube videos, it's the bloopers that get us the most compliments, in the comments. And so if you cut those out, it's sometimes a lost op. Of course, you have to stay on brand.
Right.
But the other thing is you have an overseas outsourced full-time video editor. There's actually services where you spend 500 or $1,000 a month, and it's, believe it or not, it's all you can eat editing, all you can get. If you as many videos as you can provide. I don't know if there's an asterisk. I don't know if there's a disclaimer here, but they will, quote unquote, deliver those to you. So I have not tried this myself, but it's worth a Google search of, unlimited editing subscription, or Fiverr. You go to Fiverr, $10, $20, someone will edit your video. It's key to have a team member, though, someone that it becomes part of your flow.
Yeah,
that's what we found, and it sounds like you're now getting into it, which is cool. Where can people find you on social? I want YouTube, I want TikTok, TikTok you mentioned, but just give me all the handles one more time, please.
All right. So LinkedIn is the #1 platform I spend the most time on curating content for. And you can look me on my LinkedIn just by The Real Jason Duncan, The Real Jason Duncan, and that's JasonDuncan.
Okay.
I'm on Instagram at the same handle, The Real Jason Duncan. I do a lot of content on Instagram as well. To a lesser degree, I have a Facebook business page called RTI Coach. That stands for Results Through Integrity, RTI Coach. And then on Twitter, I'm at Real Jason Duncan, because evidently the word "the" put me over the character limit. So I know I'm not getting the same handle on all platforms, but it's Real Jason Duncan on Twitter. And then on my YouTube channel, you can just search for Results Through Integrity as a hashtag, or Friday Sales Tip as a hashtag. And I do all my videos, I hashtag all my videos with those two hashtags, Results Through Integrity or Friday Sales Tip. And I put out at least one video each hashtag every single week. And I'm also doing a 52-week video series on the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey.
Nice.
I'm getting a lot of good content, or not content, but a lot of good comments on that. And that goes out. I try to do that every Monday. So I would love for people to subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on LinkedIn or Instagram. And then, as I mentioned, TikTok Sales Pro on TikTok.
Nice. And then what's your website address for your business?
All right, for the business, it's energylightingservices.com, energylightingservices.com. We have our main office, our headquarters here in Nashville, Tennessee. We have an office in Memphis, Tennessee, an office in Greenville, South Carolina, and an office in Sacramento, California.
Okay, I got a lead for you. I got someone you need to speak to. It's a company out in Silicon Valley.
Excellent.
I'll make an intro.
I'd love that. Thank you.
Those bulbs are hot as hell when I go to that place. All right, my man. Listen, I really appreciate your time, bro. This was really, really fun and educational, man. Thank you for being a Dubb subscriber, and the lines are open. We're here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your software. I love what you're doing. I wish I'd have came up with it and thought of it, and because I believe in it. So if you need any other investors, just let me know.
All right, my man. Thanks, Jason.
All right. Thank you.
All right.